So, hello everyone, and welcome to my review of the new episode of Yowamushi New Innovation episode 13. And it was a really good episode. And if you saw my live reaction, if you could see it now, you can see it about in 20 minutes or so in the reaction there. I am screaming kind of loudly before that, so my neighbor up down is coming down, like banging on my door. And because I'm Swedish, the reaction in Sweden is like, okay, I'm not home, pretend you're not home, because well, I'm a person that likes conflict and so on. Swedes in general never wants conflict, right? Jag ska just fade away. So I knew that the best way to not to fix so my conflict with my neighbor is to pretend that I'm not home, because then he or she is like happy because I am pretending not to be home. So then they get their wheel kind of guy. So yeah, so what I had to do was like just lowering my voice a lot, right? So right now I am recording. That was like 30 minutes ago, so I'm still quite not speaking in that loud. So usually I'm just kind of trying to whisper here now because, yeah, it's not overly late here. It's kind of late. That's why the lighting isn't that good. But mainly, like, yeah, it's just how you can do it in Sweden, right? You don't, I mean, I would, and actually, I would tell you too much about my neighbor upstairs. It's horrible. They do fucking noises all the time. They have some kind of weird wheel noises going on with kids. So if anything, I was like, if anything. If I was doing the live reaction there, I'll probably go out and say, you get the fuck out away from here because you are the loudest neighbor I've ever had for like 10 years. So yeah, so I think it was kind of fun that they were coming down to me when I'm usually complaining, because I never complain about them. Like I do it kind of half and half, like passive aggressively, but I don't never stated to them that they're always loud. So I was like, what the hell? Don't complain to me. Jesus Christ, you are the one. But anyway, this episode was obviously really good. I mean, I'm kind of a laugh guy. I'm gonna laugh loud. I'm excited, and I'm happy and so on. And this episode was so good, right? So I was like, yeah, laughing loudly, being like, yes, Koga senpai. That was it was intense. The episode was so intense. I was feeling it, So obviously I was loud. I'm not saying they're wrong or so. I'm just saying that they shouldn't complain because they are the one who's loud all the time. But anyway, this episode was, but for me then, by far the best episode this season. Such a good episode. I read some people complaining about Koga, saying like, oh, where did he come from? But I loved it. He was an injured guy fixing the bicycle in the corner, and now he's back, and he's back to fucking take his spot in Inter. Loved it. I'm so thrilled about this. It can mean so many stuff in this episode. It could mean that Isa gets kicked out, which I would love. Fucking hate Isa. It could mean that Teshima gets kicked out, which I wouldn't like, because I really like it because I love Teshima's character. And the thing is that I was so sad that last year, was 2 weeks ago, last season back, so season 1, when Teshima and Yogi didn't get, for the team when they lost to Onoda. That was heartbreaking to me. That was some sad episodes in the anime. Like, I really felt it. That was like, that felt very, very horrible. In one way, sport anime and sport manga, so one I think can be much more relatable. Because if you see someone gets killed in like whatever Blood Plus or something, the spoiler, but it's the character gets killed in Blood Plus Purple, and that was the most worst thing I've ever seen in my life in an anime. And it's not an anime has horrible death scene and so on, but that was a mind for me. It was Berserk and so on. But Blood Plus has a scene for me. I think it's much more. So gruesome how the death is made. If you've seen the anime, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's like episode 40 or so. It's like, that is like, it's not how bloody they are, it's more how horrible it is, right? So, but sport anime though, it feels more relatable, right? Because sometimes when I see stuff like, for example, Blue Leaves or Dead Leaves, that movie is called, with the guy, what's his name? The guy does Usopp and so on, and like Ranma and so on. He's in the movie Dead Leaves, and this is scene with like this slaughter guards, like this blood is flowing everywhere. Like when that happens, you get distant, right? Because it's like, yeah, this is so fictional, this is so incredibly bloody, so it doesn't really feel for you. And when you watch like on Titan, someone dies, like in the last episode, someone died, because someone always dies taking Titans, you feel like, yeah, he died. Like, who's gonna happen? Who's not gonna die, right? It's like, yeah, everyone dies. So when I watch sport anime, or the kind of more, real, like down to earth anime, because this is like a real, this could happen in real life, right? It feels much more to me. So when I saw Sugimoto losing 2 episodes back, right, I was almost crying there and doing live reactions. I was like, I have to keep the tears in. That felt really, really dramatic to me. Because it feels like this is something actually could happen in real life. Someone that is training for this for half a year, struggling for this, right? And we can see the Yoga Teshima, they've been, trying to finally go to Inter High, and then they lost last year. And that felt such a, bummer, And that felt like someone died in anime, but more so, because it's like if you die in your sport, it's like you can't play in the tournament in your sport, that's worse, right? I think also it's more relatable because people have probably played sport in real life and be like, oh, you weren't first, you had to sit on the bench or whatever, right? So this episode is very, very interesting because in one way, I want to see Koga win, even though he has Kashima. Even if he beat Teshima, I want to see him win because I think he's a great character. His short backstory there was very, very. I felt it. I'm like, you can do it, man. Like I felt it. So even if it be Teshima, I wouldn't be like, for his sake. I could see it happening because I know Teshima is the physically weakest one. But at the same time, though, I feel that Teshima and Aogi, I really, really want to see them go to Indrive because I was really sad than the first season when they couldn't do it and they were trying so hard. And then there was it helping the team, supporting the team, always being behind the guys, helping and so on. So they really deserve this spot. They worked hard for this, exercising constantly, between so they can actually finally be in and so on. So it's a very it's very interesting feeling to it. But of course, as I said in the beginning, I want him to be Isa. Fuck Isa. Like I want him to put out Isa out of this. I'm so tired of Isa. I hated him in this episode. I disliked him from the start. And this episode was absolutely the worst episode for him. This episode was bad as well, but at least his horrible personality was funny sometimes. But this episode was just annoying, whining. It made no sense to me. So the same in live reaction, I was like, how can he have this character? I think he's a horrible characterization. Horrible, unrealistic character. Because if you're a person, and I say it relates to myself, and I've been doing sports, I've been doing martial art, I've been doing soccer, and basketball and volleyball. I'm competing in all of those. I have done martial art tournaments since I was like 12 or something, and I've won a lot of martial art tournaments and so on, right? Yada yada, I'm a big guy. No, but like I'm not a good fit anymore, but I'm a pretty big Swedish guy. No, but I'm much bigger than. I weigh more than 100 kilograms, so I'm much bigger than the average person. So I have that going for me. Of course, in martial art you do have weight classes, but I mean like in that sport as well, I'm quite. I'm not super top, but I'm pretty tall as well. So I'm doing a lot of sports. I met a lot of different people doing sports. And I love sports, of course. I exercised an hour every day. I did it today as well before I did it as well. And I just can't relate to Isa. Like I can't relate to him. Like he's like doesn't exist, that characterization. Doesn't exist, because if you have a character that is like, and I met a lot of people, have to win for every cost. They fuck the team. They're just all about winning for themselves. And he's the kind of character. He's like, fuck my guys, they helped me, but fuck them. It's all about winning and so on. I met a lot of people at that. I am myself at that all the time as well. It's all about winning and so on. But the thing is that if you're like that, you're not nervous. Like I am never nervous usually when doing sporting. Yes, I'm nervous. It's like you feel the butt for stomach. I have to go now. Like except when I did martial arts, different like karate and tide and shit, and was more done taekwondo of course and so on. When I did those martial arts, I didn't get so nervous before I went to a fight. But I got nervous when I went out and do this, the kata, so the poms it's called in taekwondo. So you go out, so you have to do your actual, like this kind of moment, right? You have this perfect ordered pattern, which you can't compete in. And when I did those things, then I felt nervous, because it's kind of like going up to a stage, right? It's like before you go up and have to sing in front of these people, so you feel like, yeah, this stomach butterflies. So you get nervous, but as a competitive, like an extremely greedy competitive person, as soon as I get out there, I usually never feel any nervous when I'm actually doing it. And when it comes to like actual fight people then, for example in taekwondo, which I did for many years, competitively, and so on. When you do that, I never felt nervous pretty much. When I actually at the battle, that is just very easy. That is just a sport, right? This would be much about the judge, so because when you do a pomse, it's much more about if the judge is looking this, the angle and so on. That is more about, you feel it is more uncertainty, right? But if you actually fight someone, it's like, if I can beat him, I can beat him. If I can't, I can't. So it's much more simple. You just go in there and do your best. So I can't relate to his character at all, because Maybe because I'm very far from it myself, but I know a lot of competitive people. I play a lot of esport as well, right? And I've been in tournaments all year round, and of course I have written and researched games, right? I work at the website, and published papers from game experts and like esport guys, and I've done that, and I have never met a person over my years of I have interviewed maybe let's say 200 esport people, so that or whatever, right? And I never met a person with his personality, never at a competitive high top or something, which I interviewed him to, like talk to them, why do you compete, what is your drive, and so on. There's a lot of different people, but this personality, why it exists, obviously he's more of an extreme polarized person because he's an anime character. So obviously, maybe I felt people that are like him, but on a lesser level, let's say degree of it. Sure, but I feel like this is not a realistic character at all. And people are gonna say, you say, no, but I'm not that. I'm nervous and so on. Yeah, but that's not the same thing because I face a lot of people that are nervous. And for example, when I play Magic Gathering competitively, I can very easily see who's nervous and actually abuse that and like scare them, but playing quicker and being more aggressive when you talk to them and like mind fucking them and so on. So you can find out it's very easy to see people that are nervous. Like he is explaining, very, very typical nervous traits, right? But those people aren't competitive. And I'm not gonna step on someone's toes that you are an idiot, you're weak or something. But usually, if you have that, he seems to have very high security, right? And very nervous personality. And when you are like that, you usually aren't on the same time extremely competitive. Like he's both extremely greedy, competitive, have to win everything, fuck his team, so extremely confident in that, and at the same time he's extremely not confident. See what I mean, right? You can't have both there. You can't both be extremely confident in your abilities over general and be like, fuck my team, I want myself, even if he clearly did last episode, completely shit personality, and then also be super nervous and like, oh shit, I can't do this. That doesn't make any sense. No one is that in real life. You can't be both. You're either one of them. It's an oxymoron there. You can't be both. It's like, yeah, I hope I explained it perfectly what I mean, but that irritates me. It irks me so much. Like I don't like his at all, right? Because it's not relatable. Because you're either one of them. You're either nervous or obviously you can be both to some degree, but not in history. You can't be like extremely overconfident and also be extremely nervous. Because if you're extremely overconfident, you are nervous because your confidence makes you less nervous. That's the whole point, right? Even if you're an idiot and you think you're the best, like Dunning-Kruger effect, so you think you are so good at something. You think you're the best, right? Because you have no understanding of how the actual game or sport that works. You think you know, or work and so on, but you don't. And everyone fucking hates you for whatever, but you don't, right? So you have high confidence because you have blissful ignorance, makes you high confidence. But what does that also mean? It means you also are not nervous because your blissful ignorance is going to make you very confident about how good you are at this sport, whatever you're doing with sport, for example. So you think you're good at it, and that makes you not nervous, right? So even you can have extremely high confidence, like baseless confidence, but baseless confidence makes you less and less nervous because you think you're good at it, even if you aren't. It doesn't really matter. In your mind, you're good at it. And he has, what I would say, baseless confidence, like extremely basic confidence. And Danshiki, his best friend, is like, but Isa, I always liked you because you have so extreme confidence. You're so fucking awesome. You never give up. You're this and this and this. And he is definitely explaining this kind of like extreme Dunning-Kruger lack of understanding of the world. Like, you cry to mom, but go to the legs, and and you're like, oh, you ruined shogi tables because you can understand why you lost one. Like, he's explaining pretty much like shitty Dunning-Kruger people. I would say that typical psychological effect. But those people aren't nervous. Those people are fucking confident, or at least they aren't like they think they're so good at something, so they aren't like, oh shit, can I really do this? They usually believe themselves they can do it. Even though people are like, no, you're fucking idiot, you can't do it. But yeah, so that doesn't make any sense. He can't both be, baseless confident and also be nervous about it. Then he isn't confident at all. So it's very like explain. Obviously, we won't say that his confidence is fake and so on, but that's the problem, right? It isn't when he's actually doing stuff. Like for me, he's an idiot that thinks he's good at something, and he's okay of course at bicycling, but he's not good. Everyone else is better than him pretty much, right? But he thinks he's the best. He thinks he has super high. I'm the greatest. He has that kind of personality. But if you do have the personality, you wouldn't be like, oh, I can't beat the other guys. But last day you said you could beat them. So his character in this episode and next episode, they are not matching at all. So I think he's a horrible character, really. I really hate him. And he's badly written in the sense that his action last week makes no sense this week, right? Because it's like he's two different persons. Like all of his baseless Dunning-Kruger shitty psychological issues last week, none of them are working this week, right? So it's like he's changed personality, if you ask me, these 2 episodes, and both of them are horrible personalities. So fuck Isa. So if you go back to the actual good stuff of this episode, I'm talking about him a lot here, but the half episode, so it's about him, right? So in one way I would hate the episode, but things that it worked out so fucking well, the episode. Sorry for my language here, but it worked out so damn well, because I was there like, yeah, it's a pretty good episode, but damn, I hate Isa, damn, I hate him. But sometimes when you hate characters, you can be good, but you can hate a bad guy, or you can hate a villain and be like, I hope someone fucking kills that guy. You can hate that, and that can be a great way to also enjoy a movie or something. So I was like, I'm pretty enjoying this, but man, I hope he loses. Where's Sugimoto? Where's his brother? Come on, can someone beat him? And then bam, we have Koga Senpai. Oh, and then we have Koga Senpai. So I was like, oh Jesus Christ, this twist of this guy coming in suddenly and being much better than everyone else, pretty much, like it is much more competitively, much more determined. It was just so perfect. I mean, seriously, when Isa's character was like, this is a badly, but probably I think he's a badly written character though. I think he is. But that being said, he's a character you're probably supposed to dislike, right? So I'm sitting there being like, yeah, I hate this character. And that's probably what the author wanted. So I was like, yeah, I hate him. And then suddenly this guy come in and he's giving me this grace that I wanted. The savior of playing, like, fuck you, I hear your prayer, man, I'm gonna fuck over this guy. I'm here, I'm older, I'm much more fit, I'm super big guy, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna just win everything and put 6th place. And I was like, oh yes. so yes, Koga Senpai. Oh man. So half episode, first half, or I mean we have an intro on the course, so we can prepare for Koga Senpai as a motor character. We see Hakone's new guys and so on. So that's great as well. Great intro in the beginning there. I love that. I love the intros, like showing the new characters and showing them battle and showing what's gonna happen in the episodes without spoiling too much. It's generally showing stuff. That's really great. And it's and also intro is leaving out who is gonna be against Hakone, right? Because we see like Unoda and Naruto, we know those guys are safe, but they're leaving out like Isa or Koga, the guy against Hakone. That's a greatly done intro, very good. Compared to the newest Boku no Hero, which I really dislike. I like the song, but don't like the intro, because that intro show anything. I read the manga anyway, but it doesn't show anything. It's like stretching, and then they are just a few fights, like one fight pretty much. And then it's like, that is like ability thrown at nothing, right? For like 10 seconds. That's the only it shows. Intro's supposed to get you excited, pumped up, you know, like, yes, that's gonna be better, that's gonna be cool, that's gonna be funny. That's what the intro show you. This intro was great, because it did show me, okay, it's a new guy in pink. Who is this guy? It's Kinyo. I had to like, what's this guy? This is interesting. And, you know, so forth, right? Then we see, oh, that's the new green-haired guy. His name is like Dorobo or something like that. Dorobaya, something like that, right? From Hakone, we see the guy with the mask. We see, of course, the new Sly guy with Mishido, that weird tricky guy. Like, yes, with the hand. So we get right up, right? We saw those cards last week, and obviously we get the intro, so we get like, it's gonna be awesome. It's a great intro, an awesome intro, it's all the way through it. And also perfectly for this episode then, because this is the first time we even saw Koga for like this season, right? And suddenly he's here in the intro, because the direct casting first, it's much muscular, and suddenly it was in the episode after halfway through. So obviously when they was in the car with one of that, like that's probably the guy from the intro. Looks at safety glasses there. So I was like, that's a pink case, a new enemy, or a new Soko guy? That's very well done there. It was perfect having this intro with this kind of halfway season there, then showing the new character here. So very good. So anyway then, well, I really even more like that, and probably what they were screaming at me, I was even more excited when, okay, so first he's like, I'm gonna take out Isa. That is fucking awesome. But also after that, we see him of course being, Teshima, you are too weak, I'm gonna beat you. And I just didn't see that coming. So it was like twist on twist, and it's just perfectly flowed there. First we have Isa, that I'm just hating, right? We have the new guy coming and say, I'm gonna fuck over you younglings, you're weak. He's like, yes, fuck over Isa. And it's like, no, Teshima. I'm like, what? I love that. And it gets me conflicted too, because I really like Koga. That's the thing I saw from him. But as I mentioned in the beginning of this review, I'm a huge fan of Teshima and Ioga struggle. I'm just like, oh my god, I want those guys to win through high. I want them to be like, oh yes, they finally get the revenge. And so yeah, that is very, very, very interesting. They attacked Koga there. Sorry, the Teshima was people attacked by Koga there. Very, very interesting. And it's very hard to say though. I can't predict it exactly what's gonna happen. If it's like Koga, it's probably not gonna be. Because he's like, I want to be the captain. He doesn't want to just be in team. He wants to be a captain. So probably he will lose though, because he doesn't just want to be, you know, part of the 6-man team. He want to be the leader of them. So that's probably why he's gonna lose. Because he's gaping for everything, right? He's really reaching for the stars. He's to try to just be, okay, take out Isa, take out Uno, whatever. He's trying to just actually get to doing everything. He's like, I prepared. So that lot of teams like, I've been lurking and observing everyone and how to handle the team. Sitting in his corner being like, so someone screaming at him sitting in the corner being like, yes, I'm looking at everyone. that was great. That was a great part to see there. But yes, I think he's unfortunately just gonna be an enemy during this 100,000 kilometer race, right? It's 200 laps. That is probably all of it. And it's also after behind though. Unoda and him started because they had cars. They started actually behind, so he's after. He's like 20 kilometers or so behind as well. It's a long time to take off actually. Unoda was like, it's easy, I can do it. But yeah. So that is actually very interesting as well. Obviously, one thing that's weird though is that I guess they're talking about time frames, but they usually say that people have problem actually doing, you know, all the meters, right? But it feels like couldn't use more people actually just beat the race. I mean, beat the actual distance, right? They're not actually beat the timer. So I guess that they have a lot of good people have the time for it as well. Then, but yeah, it's very interesting there because I could see it going any way there. Like he could beat Teshima and so on, but Teshima could still beat Isa, and that Isa out of course, which would be my preferred ending of it. That's one thing I missed the episode. Where is Sugimoto and where is his brother? His name is Todoroki, right? I hope his name is Todoroki now, but his name is right. Where are those guys? Should also be in this thing, because Sugimoto should know that. Well, okay, I lost the first race here for the new guys, but it's still about that 10,000, you know, super long meter thing. And his brother is extremely big and fit. It's perfect for him. So I'm expecting him to be a dark horse. Like I had the prediction like weeks ago, and I still hope that Todoroki is gonna come in here and beat them, right? That's a possibility that they could come as well. I think it's still happening, and that means that it's Sugimoto's brother, not so himself. Maybe even him could come in here because he has longer legs. Someone Isa talking about him being better at longer distance. So that's also weird. Why are they trying? Maybe they are. They haven't been shown yet. It's about Koga now, Koga Senpai now, and then maybe they will actually come in next to it for now actually. Because it's gonna be an episode obviously in this race, right? This long marathon race. They could come in here. Actually it's happening. And actually be like, well, you know, Sugimoto's good at, he's probably better than Isa at like high stamina, long races, right? He's like, yeah, I've been doing this for like 3 days now. You know, it's like, yeah. Because this is like 20 other people doing the race. Because suddenly it's so popular, they have a lot of new students, right? So all other people doing it, they're getting laughed and be like, what, so fast, so yeah. So obviously a lot of people are there. So why wouldn't those brothers also be there? So that's also one thing, and they could also interfere who's gonna win and so on. But I think he's gonna lose, unfortunately, Koga, because he wants to be the best, right? He wants to be number 1. If he was like, I'm gonna be number 6, and just put out Isa and just, you know, take the spot and make the team better, then I think he actually probably would win. If that was the main story kind of going for it. But the story right now is going for him to be number 1, right? And if he said that's just gonna happen, so that probably was gonna lose. If he said that, I might be wrong, but I don't think so, because it would be so tragic to not see Teshima have a chance for it to high, right? Because he didn't get it last year. But yeah, but I hope that Koga is pushing out Isa. I think that things that Eorge and Teshima are physically weak usually, as we saw last year. They weren't that good, so it would be even more interesting if you see Todoroki Koga taking the spots and putting out the other guys and so on. They could also happen. I don't think so. It's a low chance, but it also could happen. Very low chance, but it could be interesting, because it's like they are the weaker though, and they have the tandem thing, and they're allowed to use it this year. So they are actually definitely at a disadvantage for that. And I don't think it's gonna happen, but it could happen. Because I think it's like when you watch any kind of Walking Dead or some kind of horror TV, whatever. The only characters that are safe are kind of the popular main characters, right? So the character we know is safe is Onoda. He's the main character. He's never gonna lose. Onoda has 5 left behind. He's gonna beat easily. He's gonna have Basuko Knight and beat them again. He's absolutely safe, right? Naruto is kind of like the second main character in the beginning of the anime. No, I would say Teshima is pretty much safe because of that, but he's much more, screen time now, right? So he's kind of safer than that. But Naruto has that going for him since the beginning of the anime. And also Isama couldn't develop, of course, but Naruto has a little more, I would say, because yes, Isama in the first episode, but then Naruto I think will actually kind of overcomes that, and we see him in Osaka, he's doing the speed race, and he has a lot of like side story with him and other characters and so on, right, a little. So he's kind of safe, and of course Isama-kun is safe because he was the rival to the first episode. That doesn't have that much storyline, but we see him trade Sugimoto. So he's also having some kind of side story. He's a side character. He's interacting with Saka by his own right, except the main character. So he also has a main story kind of character. So those 3 guys are always gonna be safe, because those are the guys that they kind of connected to main characters. Right? So if you watch like a Walking Dead, then you see the main character connected to main character. He's gonna die, and you see there he's also gonna die, and so on. Right? Those are connected to the other characters too much. So they're never gonna fall. Oh yeah, Isama was connected to the girl, the manager. I can't remember her, but yeah, she's the bicycle hunter girl to focus on. Yeah, she's also connected to him in his childhood. So yeah, he's very safe. So those 3 guys are safe to die, right? That's what I mean, because this is more, to me it's always worse if you lose the race, because this feels more like it's something you can actually do in real life, since you get hit by a zombie. So it's like, but those are probably safe. There's a 99% chance they can't lose. Only at 100%, those guys are 99%. But the other 3 spots are really up for grabs, if you ask me. Teshima is physically weak, but very intelligent. Aogi is, I guess it's like a personality is weak, because it's like silent, and he's a little, I think he's like a nervous guy. I think he just does stuff, right? He's a very straight bullet guy, but he feels like he's a little weird, yeah. And Issa has this, obviously, it's very weird confidence issue problem. That had to make no sense. Then we have Koga, which is apparently super well trained now, but he has, instead injury, but he's a little too confident now, cocky, right? And then we also have, I would say, hopefully we have Sugimoto with lack of confidence, probably since loose, but he's good at going. And his brother, which is very, very too nice, not very competitive person, but very talented person. So we have a couple of people that has advantage and disadvantage, and they all are kind of side character-ish. So anyone could lose, but I think Teshima is probably safe though, right? Because Teshima is the character now that has so much story with him thinking. So he's like, how could it happen now? And so we're gonna do this and so on. So he's gaining more and more momentum as a main character, right? Like a secondary main character. And when then Koga was saying, I'm gonna beat you, Teshima, and it goes for Teshima, then I felt this is fucking awesome. I didn't see it coming. It was a great episode. I loved the episode, but I don't think Koga wins that. It kind of goes against him, right? Because Teshima say that he's getting more and more screen time, right? And again, like we saw from his perspective in the episode. Like he was probably more. I would say Teshima was more the main character in this episode, right? And that's not the first episode he's been at. So he's probably safe. Teshima is probably he's not as safe as Trigger. He's probably 80-90% chance he can't lose. Aogi could say lose though. Aogi could say much easier to lose. So if you aim for just beating out like Aogi or Issa as some other random ace guy, he wanna be the ace or supportive the ace or whatever, that would make much more sense. That could absolutely make more sense. Also, the thing is that Teshima is a climber. If you look at it as a position place, Uno is a climber, Teshima is a climber, Aogi and Naruto are sprinters, and Isama-kun and Issa are aces, right? Sportive ace and ace. So shouldn't Koga, because he seems to be very well fit and extremely should he be an ace? He wanna be an ace, right? He wanna beat out their second climber. That doesn't make sense strategy-wise. So he's probably gonna because of that. If he aimed for Issa, that would make much more sense too, because he would be a much better ace probably than either him or Izumi, right? So Koga would fit in that spot much more. And I can see him say that because Aogi has no story. So Aogi could definitely lose. He's like 7 in Lost, but he has some personality with sprinting there, but very, very little, right? He has very little backstory right now and so on. So he could lose. But then Koga would be a sprinter, right? So it's kind of like, or he would be kind of sprinter position. So I think that's also a big reason why he's not gonna win, because basically if he takes out the climber, and maybe he's a climber though, but we see so far seems to be an ace guy. So it's like, that also kind of tossed against him taking him out, right? So while I really like the twist I said earlier, it's kind of, I really would wish, right, that he would say, I'm gonna beat any one of you. So I have chance victory high. Probably you, weak new guy, Isa. I wanna beat you. That would be so good. Cause then it would be better for me. Because then it would be like, okay, probably can do this. Isa has a whole personality. Koga has more determination. It's better fit, and he's feeling the same role. Right? That would be much harder to determine that if he has a chance or not. Given the storyline, right? Because they also have plot armor, right? How good they are. But that's me. I'm thinking about it. That he's trying to beat out the climber captain with his ace. That must be a captain too. That it just and the Teshima also has more storyline. If he said, I just want to beat any one of you guys, that would be more open for just who is gonna beat out them. However, though, as a story, as a twist story, that was better. Like he was going for the captain space. I couldn't see it happening. So while now with no reason behind it, I think that he's gonna win, and that made me saddened because I hate Isa. The episode for itself and probably the Koga episode are more intense because he's like going for the actual top. So that twist storyline was better, I suppose. But it's kind of predictable now. Not predictable, but it feels like it's more predictable because it's hard to beat out the captain. You like have story progression is. Not actually natural talent in the actual animal world, but more like how, you fit, right? That's interesting though. One point I would say, the last point here, is that it was kind of weird how they were so competitive to beat Teshima this lap. So I think that if story-wise, he's probably going to lose because this is guessing how to lose them. I think he's going to lose because he's going too hard just to beat Teshima. Teshima is like, we just have to beat, 200 laps. He's just going to, do his best to keep his stamina and do for that. Yes, Koga is known for his stamina, but why is he going... It's like no point beating Teshima on that lap. You just want to beat them after like 200 laps, right? So like going like crazy, just to go ahead of him like 10 meters for this lap, it means nothing. You have fucking 190 laps left, right? Or 195 or something. So it's like, you use all your energy for a marathon race, which is still ongoing for like 4 more days, like 3.5 more days. It's like not the best strategy. So I think Teshima, with his obviously high intelligence and strategic mastermind, he's going to be much more resourceful. So I'm just going to use my stamina perfectly per lap and just so I can just keep going, right, until I do it. He's going to be like, I have to lap him, and he probably will be exhausted after like 2 days or something, and then he will lose, right? It feels like Koga's issue is probably his injury, right? So he likes to have a backstory in this episode or 2 episodes from now, and I'm guessing his backstory is that he's always going too rough, right? Too hard. So he's very talented, but he's too simple-minded, as Kinyo said. So he's probably just going too rough, right, on his own body, and that's why he probably will lose. But he's probably exhausted himself after like 2 days or so, and even if he's probably leading, he's probably in the lead of everyone, probably after like 2 days. But then he's more tired, so the last like 100 kilometers he's gonna be too tired and probably collapse or lose the last 50 or so, right? Not the guy's gonna do them at like a reasonable paced out speed all the time. He's gonna go really quick in the beginning, take a huge lead, and then of course drop up more and more and more. Nothing's gonna lap him back, and he's gonna lose probably. It probably will end him being super. I have to do this now, and probably intercept again, probably. But but he's probably like burns him up even harder, right? So I think it's gonna be a tragic end there for him, probably. Especially so this episode now, he's burning out too much in the beginning. So anyway, always amazing episode. Even though I hated the Isa, it's like a character I think you're supposed to hate. So it's like, that works for me in that sense though. But he's very unrealistic though, so I don't like that. He's just such a weird personality because it doesn't really match, right? But as a storytelling, it makes sense. Obviously, it's poor luck with the damn character, and it makes sense as storytelling because he's just like, "Fuck you, Isa." And then suddenly this angel Koga senpai arrives to be like, I'm gonna kill this bastard for you. You're like, yes. But no. They changed your mind and they went for the other guy that you like. Oh god, it's like twist on twist what a good episode. The best episode this season, absolutely, probably the best ever. No, but a really good episode. So anyway, see you guys next week. Have a great day. Subscribe and put the like button up.